Welcome to the Civic Pulse. Civic means society, and the Civic Pulse looks at what's going on between our families, our neighbors, and our government. Every month, we connect with diverse influencers, change makers, and leaders. These are conversations at intersections across America. I'm Dr. Dilara Sayeed, and I'm honored to serve as the host of the Civic Pulse podcast. The podcast producers are Osama Rezi and Subhan Ashrafi, and we're honored to work with our Civic Pulse team. Let's go. Our guest today is Riaz Surti. Riaz is a founder of a series of businesses in the food space, including his latest venture of 13 years, Healthy Foods, based in downtown Los Angeles. The source of inspiration for Healthy Foods, which is now all across the nation and the globe, was Surti's mother, who was unable to enjoy Indian staples like roti because of her diabetes. The result was an innovative flour company, Healthy Foods, that utilizes fruits and vegetables to make flours as a healthier alternative to everyday baking mixes found in major grocery aisles. I'm not only telling you this because you should know Healthy Foods, but because I'm a customer of Healthy Foods. I really enjoy some of the products that Riaz and his team create. And Riaz's values are clear. Not only are his products good for us, his employees and team come from diverse backgrounds. They are Black, white, Latino, Arab, Jewish, and South Asian, and he's created an open and welcoming workplace culture. Salam and welcome to the Civic Pulse, Riaz.
Walaikum Assalam, Dilara. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, there's so many facets to your identity and your work that I want to talk about, but I want to start with Riaz Surti, the American entrepreneur and businessman. Riaz, right now we are hearing about tariffs, trade wars, debt ceilings. It's the economy, stupid, is what everybody talks about. Are you bullish towards America, or are you anxious about our economic future and our future in general?
I mean, and I always believe that in order to be successful in life, you have to be positive about things, right? Okay, and be successful meaning like no, you have to be optimistic about the future, right? Because I think America still has a lot of opportunities. It's still especially one of the largest economies in the world, right? So, and I also think that I think if you just focus on what you have control over, which is your products, having high quality products at a good price, being innovative, being making products that are healthy, that are good. I think there's always a market for that, right? So okay,
Mhm.
and I know, of course, we worry about the future, but ultimately, if you offer a good product at a good price, and offer the best customer service, I think those are recipes for success.
Yeah, I appreciate that you're saying, your circle of influence, right? Like focus on what you can do, the change you can make, the service you can provide. Well, Herthy products are focused on health and wellness. So when I think about um, the challenges we are facing as a society, is business booming? Tell us a little bit about how you're doing and
Yeah,
what kinds of
yeah.
customers you have.
I mean, majority of our customers are not Muslim. We're using Amazon as a way to drive our products, right? Okay, and ultimately, what
Mhm,
Amazon is no, it's basically it has the best reach out there. People are going on Amazon to
mhm,
buy their products because it's convenient. Also, they have a good distribution network, right? So the way we had just recently launched a few products. Like one is creatine, and we're buying no, we don't. No, we're buying a large quantity, large volume, and getting a good price on it, and offering it on Amazon at a good price, right? So I think Amazon customer ultimately is a customer that's looking for value, right? So, and one thing
mhm,
I try to do with all my products is I try to look for products that where I can commodify it. So like when they say creatine, gelatin, agar agar, I don't think it's about branding on those products. What it is about is it's about who's offering the best price and the best quality. Okay, so. Okay,
mhm.
and no one does it better than Healthy Foods, right? So, So I look for those type of products that, like kind of like think of it like a gasoline, right? Doesn't matter if you're buying from Chevron or Shell, you just want that gasoline, right? So same with
Yeah.
creatine. I don't think people care about the brand. I don't care about gelatin. I don't care about the brand. But ultimately, all our products are grass fed, are higher quality, single ingredient, right? And we just try to offer at the best price as possible. But there are some products like collagen, which people associate brand value with that product, right? So the brand does
Mm.
matter, right? So okay, and so it's still we still offer a better price, but ultimately people are buying that product as a better quality, right? So okay, and we're the first company to ever do a halal collagen out there, and really, and now I think maybe 6 or 7 of them out there doing halal collagen. But our goal was to bring a high quality grass fed, a non just something that dissolves really well and helps them has high efficacy rate. So that was the goal, was to
Yeah.
have a good product like that. So
And that's
that's
what drew me to you. You and I met on a panel in California with an organization called Muslim Visionaries. And you had talked about not just your business, but your business model, some of what you're saying now. And I was inspired. And so I went home and you remember I texted you and I was like, tell me the name of your product again. And you shared it. And I bought some of the marshmallows. I bought, which are not only great looking because they look so natural because they're square, like really like as if you just freshly made them and cut them and then put them into a package. And then I've tried your collagen, and so after my workouts in the morning, I will come upstairs, have a glass of milk, put the collagen scoop in there, and mix it and have it. And it's like you said, quality, high quality, wellness, and knowing that the source of it and the company that's doing this cares about people, right? Making money, but caring about people while you're making money.
yeah,
What's your
yeah.
favorite
I mean,
product?
my favorite product is collagen. I love taking the collagen, of course,
Mhm.
right? Okay, and I've been taking collagen for at least maybe 6, 7 years now, right? And I've had knee surgery, and I've never felt better. In fact, yeah, people keep saying, "How old are you, Riaz?" Right? Okay, and I say, I'm just a collagen. I mean, it keeps me young, right? So, but I do know collagen is something that I love, right? Okay, and I'm
Mhm.
very very fond of that product, And I think
Yeah.
if you're an old person, a young person, you should be taking collagen.
Yeah, yeah, and if you're going to see a doctor or a checkup soon to our audience, ask for things like this because if you're not using collagen, it's great for your joints and your bones, and and again, eating grass-fed marshmallows that are delicious but also healthy for you and not just sticky candy. All of this is really critical. We spent the last several minutes talking about business and talking about, quality in business, but I want to switch gears uh, to the civic and political space. Your Healthy products actually focus on health and wellness. You're a businessman, but you're also working towards a better civic health for our community. You are running for office. So tell us a little bit about your political vision, why running for office is important to you right now. Actually, tell us where you are right now, because I think that's a story in and of itself.
Okay, I happen to be at an AAPI conference in Atlanta. Okay, and I happen to be at a tavern where Jimmy Carter had announced his presidency in 1976 or 1975 to run for president, and I'm at the same tavern that he's at now. I'm not sure. Do you have a video on to show you the video? But this is what the tavern looks
Yeah.
like. Yeah. But it's I don't think Jimmy Carter was one of the most misunderstood presidents there was. Okay, he was a person that really that was honest, okay, and selfish, and in a lot of ways I admired the way he ran his presidency. It was all about doing the right thing, So okay, and as
Mhm.
far as my own political career, right, I did run for city council of Cerritos, okay, and I came short and I didn't win, but I'm going to run again in the next year or so. It's every 2 years is the election, and but I think the reason why I think we deserve the leadership that we have, right? So in some ways, like I think when you run for political office, you really have an opportunity to make impact, right? And for me, when I ran in just last March, I basically I lost by a few hundred votes out of thousands of votes. Okay, and I just think for me, I just ran out of time, but I did pretty good as a first time candidate. I was a first runner up, and usually what they say is that usually it's not the first time that you win, but you'll win the second time if you continue
Mhm.
to get name ID out there and recognition, right? And the good thing that came out of that last race was I was appointed a planning commissioner of Cerritos, which is paid position in Cerritos, and what it really does is stepping stone for a city council, and also as planning commissioner, we determine the land use of Cerritos. So it was a
Mm.
lot of good things that came out of it, okay, and also like you get experience, you know how to talk to people, and I think the most important thing about running for office is I call it ABC: always be cool.
I love it. I love it. And I appreciate your saying again that you are trying to do this to be in a position of leadership to serve, right? The kind of servant leadership that Jimmy Carter taught us. I'm so glad you spoke about him in a way that was so positive because I think too many people do not understand his presidency and actually his service after his presidency and his incredible change making in the world, right? Making sure elections are peaceful and safe in so many nations through his election reporting, making sure we've eliminated major diseases that are possible to be eliminated across the world. And Atlanta and Georgia were his hometown. So, really powerful that we would emulate someone who spoke truth to power, someone who had the ultimate president space, but wasn't abusing it in unfortunately too many ways that we see around us, not just in our nation, but
You're
around the
absolutely right.
world.
I mean,
Um,
if you
so,
understand his story and where he came from, and just what happened to him, especially there's some good documentary that came about how unselfish he really was. He didn't care about winning the next election. He wanted to do the right thing
mhm.
now. Okay, so in a lot of ways, if you really talk about servant leadership, he exemplifies servant leadership.
You spoke about Jimmy Carter's, example, and I want to ask you a little bit. I want to move to race. Jimmy Carter talks, of being a little boy in Georgia. He grew up in Plains,
Hmm.
Georgia, and he played every day with his neighbors. Two boys he loves dearly, and every day they would run to the fence, push the fence, and go on to go fishing. And he talked about the pasture fence, and everybody wanted to push their way through in first. And he said, then one day they opened the pasture fence and they said, I should go first. They just let me. And I thought, maybe they're like tricking me. Maybe they're like playing a game on me. And I was like, why are you all like letting me go first? And they said, our mom told us to. And so at that moment, he understood race because they were two black boys and he was a white boy. At
Mm.
that moment, they learned that from then on, whatever age that happened to be, 11 or 12, he was going to go first. They were going to open the door and he was going to go first. Talk a little bit about
Wow.
race. I know, right? It's just such a powerful story when he talks about it. And I still think about it. And it talks, and it's about socialization, what we are taught, what we learn from those around us. And even though they were completely equal, there was one day and all of that shifted and they were not equal. What does that make you think about in your experiences as a businessman, as a civic leader, as an Asian American? You're at the AAPI conference in Atlanta. What does race play, if any, a role in our work and in our change making?
Mm. Well, I mean, I think from a business perspective, racism is bad business, right? Because you can't, you're not gonna ultimately, you want to serve everybody, right? Okay, and as a human being, I think racism is really comes down to the ignorance, right? It's a really ignorant concept because like it's really the highest form of arrogance, right? To think that you're better than somebody else because of something that's so arbitrary that you had no control over, right? What you're gonna look like, what color you're going to be, who your parents are going to be, right? So, so in a lot of ways, I think arrogance and racism, they're both tied in together, right? So, but ultimately, I think I think I've really come down to like the essence of something, was that either you have a scarcity mentality or abundance mentality,
Mm,
right? Is there enough room for everyone, or just enough, or you have a mentality that there's not enough for everybody, right?
mm,
So, right, I think you have to have a mentality that there's enough for everyone, okay, and that you really wish well, and it's your own reflection of the world. If you think of the world that there's enough for everyone, I think that's the key to like that's the mentality you have to have, because even even in my own personal life, I remember like I used to have this one neighbor, right? Okay, and I remember like my and we would have him over, and my mom would make him roti, and which is like Indian flatbread, right? Okay, and he would love the food, and my mom would make him spinach,
mhm.
bhaji, and paneer,
Oh, you're making my mouth water.
and you just yeah, sorry, dal, and then and baya and all that, right? Okay, and then my mom would tell his mom, that we were vegetarian because he wanted to make sure that we're eating halal at her house. Okay, and she would tell me that. So like, so he would, and his mom would ask her, "Are you really vegetarian? Because my son says he eats meat at your house, right?" And I said, "No, I only eat halal, right?" Okay, and then she said, "Well, I don't know what halal is, but I'll make sure I get you a lot of
Mm,
seafood, and
mm,
okay." And so it's just I think I do know like once you see people in a way that there's beyond race, you just think of them as a human being,
mhm,
then that's really the key to any kind of human. We're all human beings in the end,
mm,
right? So
mm.
okay, so
And the words you're saying
and my-
remind me of like our again the golden rule, right? Like want for yourself what you want for your brother, what you'd want for yourself. And in our faith, our Creator has said, the best of you are those who want for your brother and your neighbor what you want for yourself. So I see you've got a lot going on in the background. We don't want to take up too much of your time,
yeah,
but a question I do want to end with and talk to you about is share a little bit about like we have so many young adults wanting to move into business, wanting to move into civic professions. What would be two or three pieces of advice that you would tell everyone? You talked about servant leadership, you talked about honesty, but if you were speaking to yourself years ago, or if you're speaking to a young adult now, what has to happen? What kind of presence and being do they have to go into spaces like this and rock them?
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, what served me really well was like especially in business, I would say it's okay to make mistakes,
Mm,
but don't make the same mistake twice, whether it be politically or business wise, right? Okay, and don't there's a very famous Persian poet named Rumi. He said that don't let your thoughts destroy you, right? Okay, so meaning that don't be your own worst enemy.
mm,
Okay, don't outthink yourself. Don't think yourself and that everything is dismal, everything is bad, right? So okay, but the one thing I could tell you in business, business is really what it is it's basically a puzzle, right? And you got to figure out how to put all the pieces together. That's what it really is,
mm,
okay? And also it's like building a muscle, right? So you may not be good at it at first, but over time, as you keep doing it, like you keep doing business, eventually your muscles will grow and get stronger. Then you can handle any challenges there is in business, right? Like right now, I like I have I think of myself as a heavyweight champion, bodybuilder, right? Okay, and there's no problem that I can't overcome.
mm,
Okay, so okay, and there's something else I think most people forget is that in order to be successful in business, you really have to be honest, right? Okay, because it's not about that particular sale. It's about long term success.
mm,
Okay, and when people know you're honest, and I kind of say I view it as sincerity, right? If you're sincere, right? And I'll give you an example, right? Like I remember I had this just happened just about a week ago, right? Okay, and then one of my vendors asked me, "Hey, how come you're a little late on the payment?" Right? I told him honestly because I used your money to buy some another product I needed to buy. Okay, and just give me another week. I'll make sure you get paid, right? And the fact I just told him to go away, I told him I didn't dodge the call, I didn't dodge it, I didn't like, misrepresent anything, I just told him the truth, right? And he said, "You know what, Riaz, you're honest.
Mhm.
That's why I could do business with you." Okay, and I think that's part of it. Even no matter what level you're at, even if you're a multi-million dollar operator company, or if you're like doing a small business, right? You're just honest about it, okay? And I think that's the key. Even because like, you have cash flow, you have accounts receivables, right? So listen, hey, this is what's happening, and you tell people honestly this is what's going on. I think people can work with you that way,
Mm.
right? Okay, and but as far as my advice, even to my 20-year-old self, the one thing I would say is that in order to be truly successful, is you have to truly deep down inside believe that no human being can make you or break you.
Mm.
And personally, I believe that there's no human being can make me or break me. And I think that if you have that mentality, you can succeed anything in life.
Mm. It's very powerful. I wanted to ask you, is there anything I haven't asked you? I wanted to talk about California and doing business starting in California versus another place. You've been all over the world. Wanted to ask you where you think we find the most just society, right? One where you can do honest business, honest work. Uh, yeah, just wanted to ask you, what else haven't I asked and you want to help us think about?
Well, I mean, I think America. I mean, that's one thing America has. We're a small company. We started off as a small company, and selling products on Amazon, right? Okay, and what we did, we leveraged Amazon, the distribution network, and also like we live in a golden age of e-commerce, right? If you're a small company, you can market Facebook, Instagram, all these different platforms to market TikTok, right? From a small company, you could do better things than a large company can, right?
Mm.
And if you have a good product, you have a good niche, if you have a product that you just know how to market, know how to locate that customer, right? Okay, and advertise to that customer, something that's in a very targeted way. I think you could do it, especially if say if you have like a product that's very say like a halal art or something, you could target that consumer very, very well. Okay, and or Islamic type of art. Okay, and you could target down to if it's a female, male, what religious group they are, right? Okay, and do target advertising. Okay, and because in a lot of ways, if you look at your phone is not a communication device, it's a marketing device. So in the end, right? Okay, so if you just know how to use e-commerce, how to do targeted ads, then you can sell anything at this point. Yeah.
Mm.
And also like I think and one more thing, as far as the a place to do business, yeah, I think the place to do business is a place where you where it could be out of your house. It doesn't matter. Start small, but build that business up. It starts small, it starts simple, and then grow from there. That's what I would tell everybody.
Powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being in the tavern that Jimmy Carter announced his candidacy decades ago. And in his footsteps, we need honest, good servant leadership. And we're really excited. CEO of Healthy Foods, Riaz Surti, also civic leader, change maker, and I think you're just a great mentor and coach to so many young
Thank
people.
you so much.
Yeah, your words are something we can
Thank you
all
so.
take.
Well, it was a pleasure to be with you, Delara. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great night.